I ask a question? I tried to find the
Yeah, of
button to
course.
raise my hand. I couldn't find it,
Oh,
so
no
I'm
worries.
sorry about
Yeah, go
that.
for it. Mhm.
I guess it's kind of a really specific question. I'm sorry for getting it right at the end. And I agree the IBBA classes are great, and I learned a lot. There's one where they talked about prospecting. That's the nature of my question now, and I think Cress did it. The reason I'm asking this is with it being very short, but my wife's moved around between a couple of states in the last couple of years,
Mhm.
children, COVID, these type of things. And
Yeah.
my children just moved from New York to Florida. They're in Boca Raton, and they just got here, and I'm here this week where they're going to school. And I'm like, all right, I'll just go door to door and start meeting people. And then, of course, you can't get through the doors. And I made it to, a CPA. And I remember Cress said, it's like, you never want to ask for things. You want to give. And so I said, hey,
Mhm.
I work with a bunch of small businesses and they need CPAs from time to time. And, and like started there. But I know I caught you right at the end. But if you were to maybe say a couple of like, the ways to kind of maybe make an impact in a new area kind of quick, or how would you start with like the centers of influence? Or is it a lot of just, knocking on the doors or email or direct marketing to the business owners? If you just had maybe a high level tip or two, that would be amazing
Yeah,
to put in
I
practice
would
this
say
afternoon.
actually, and I can't even take credit for this because I got it from a guy named Chad Massacre, who's also with EXP Commercial. But there is a great tool called Linked Helper that will automate a lot of things for you in LinkedIn. And so Linked Helper, and it runs maybe $300 a year. It's not hugely expensive. And so one of the things that I did was I decided, well, I really should reach out to a lot of CPAs here in the local region because I moved from Los Angeles out to the desert and I don't really have contacts out here. It was like, let me just connect with some CPAs. And so I went to ChatGPT and I was like, yeah, I want to put together a LinkedIn campaign I'm new in the area. I want to reach out using Linked Helper on LinkedIn. You also need Sales Navigator in LinkedIn to make this work. And I just want to make connections with them, and then I want to let them know a little bit about what I do in terms of M&A advisor, business broker, and um, and then that way when I have connections, I can also reach out to them when I have certain listings that some of their business owner clients might be looking to expand through acquisition and so forth. And so that's what I would do. And I did that with, let's see, I pulled down, well, CPAs, because you go into LinkedIn Navigator and you can pull in, you could say, okay, I want all the CPAs or accounting firms, only the C-suite. So, they need to have a title of president or whatever, owner, president. Um, I want them to be in these zip codes or in these cities, in these regions. And so what Linked Helper will do is you can actually, and I bought a separate laptop because it'll act like it's clicking on things, the whole time. And it just as if you're a person sitting there doing it. So I got like a $500 HP laptop that I
Yeah.
could install it on, and that's all it does. And so and I set it up to run between 9 o'clock in the morning and maybe 5:30 in the evening. And it's not on weekends. So Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
okay, kind of like a person. And so it'll reach out and it'll send connection requests, certain number of days per day, because you can only send out a certain number of connection requests per day. So it'll send one out. It's got timing in it. So it'll send something out and it'll wait for like 70, 80 seconds, 90 seconds before it sends the next thing. And it,
Yeah.
it's all built-in intelligence to act like a human would and to play within LinkedIn's guidelines. And so, I set one up for CPAs, I set one up for attorneys, transaction attorneys, or estate planning attorneys, or whatever that I wanted to connect with. I set another one up just to go out to real estate agents in the local market, just to connect,
Mm.
you know. But
Yeah.
I don't have enough hours in my day to do that manually. I just can't. So that's
That's
how
incredible.
I think you could build connections very quickly. Chad said that when he moved to Florida, I think he's got like 30,000 connections on LinkedIn now, which is pretty much the maximum you can have. And then there's also another tool in Linked Helper where you can have it go through and clean out your connections to make room for more. So things that are not that relevant to
Oh,
you
that's
or to your
cool.
business or whatever,
Yeah.
you can set that up and set up a search and it'll go through and disconnect and clean them out too. So it's got all kinds of features, but I would check it out. It's linkedhelper.com, I think, that
Okay.
you can go to. But it's a great tool. And I think that's probably one of the best ways. Because think about how many doors can you knock on in a day versus having Linked Helper that can reach out to 150 different connections a day
Yeah.
before it maxes out.
That's a good point. That's a good
So,
point. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Tanya,
when you
do
do it
you
in person,
need
you can only get through to a few. Does it create the prompt for you when you reach out to the CPAs or the lawyers or these type of things? You generally say, "Hey, these are my skills and I'm trying to network." Is that generally your approach?
Well, that's what I went to ChatGPT for. And I
Okay.
just told
Got it.
Chat, I'm using LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, Linked Helper, and I want to create a 2 to 3, well, a 3 message campaign just to make connections and to help me build an alliance, business alliances in my local area. And so, yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
sure, sure. All right. And I think if you are with EXP, I think if you go into Slack, if you're with EXP Commercial, if you go into Slack, Chad Massacre has a channel in there. And I know in Workplace, he had demos on Linked Helper and Workplace is still up, but I think they're going to make it read only at some point. But you can go to Workplace and look, just search his name and for different, he had like a mentor, a mentee group or something, and he
Yeah.
had posted linked helper videos on how to get it set up and just how to do things. So
Yeah. No, he's great and he does like calls and a bunch of stuff. That's a
yeah.
fantastic idea. Thank you. That's a really
So
great idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that probably would be the most expeditious way to get you set up in your new location.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Hope
Of course.
everyone's benefited too.